Alright, of the games I've promised to play, I've checked off Pikmin 2, I've checked off Ocarina of Time, and I've even checked off Kirby's Epic Yarn. So next up is... Yoshi's Crafted World. I don't know about this one. Pikmin and Zelda were games that I'd never played before. Kirby's Epic Yarn was a game that I hated and wanted to learn to tolerate, but with Yoshi's Crafted World... I mean, it's not as if I can go, hey, what's up, it's your boy Rawk. I'm gonna play through a game that I really enjoyed the first time around, but have had no desire to return to. It just wouldn't feel right. But it's not as if I don't like Yoshi. Yoshi's Island is an absolutely incredible game that I've... never fully beaten. Well, that's 5 years in prison right there. Maybe that's why I'm not in the mood to play Crafted World, because I haven't beaten any of the games that came before it. Maybe if I do that, then I'll be able to give a shit about this game. I fucking love excuses.
You know what I want out of a sequel to Mario World? The dinosaur! And only the dinosaur!
Yes! No!
Yoshi's Island, released on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System on August 5th, 1995, and was the first game to star everybody's favourite green dinosaur.
Alright. Cool. I'll let myself out.
Entering development right after the release of Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island is actually this game's sequel. Yeah, I can make a sequel to New Super Mario Bros. Watch me. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. That's a pretty big deal. You don't just call a game about a babysitting dinosaur a sequel to Mario World lightly. These games must have so much in common, like jumping and clouds. This isn't the first time Nintendo's done the whole "this game starring not Mario is a Mario sequel" shtick. They also did it with Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land. Well, is it Mario's or Wario's? Now obviously, this was done as a quick and easy trick to make these games sell decently, as many consumers at the time may not have been willing to take a chance on a garlic man or a reptile. So Nintendo looked at Yoshi's Island and said, we gotta call this the sequel to Super Mario World. Why else would people want to buy it? Because this game's better than Super Mario World.
Ha ha ha! Your younger brother's better than you.
Yoshi's Island opens up with a storybook-style cutscene showing a stork carrying two babies to their new families. But fuck them! Listen to this music! You ever make the greatest music to ever grace the ear of man, only to play it over a kidnapping? Yup, on their travels, the babies are attacked by Kamek, who successfully captures one of them and leaves the other to plummet towards the ocean below. The baby ends up landing on the back of a Yoshi, on Yoshi's Island, where the game hits me with the horrifying realization that the plural of Yoshi is spelled with an E.
Alright, I'm just gonna say it. This is the problem with the education system.
The baby turns out to be Baby Mario, and the Yoshis, with an E, collectively decide that they're going to take care of him and take him to his new family themselves using the map that the stork had dropped. But little do they know that Kamek is sending out a fleet of toadies to capture the baby they missed by any means necessary. So, a plot about a baby being kidnapped and his brother being adopted by dinosaurs who are under constant attack from the minions of the kidnapper. That's some pretty intense stuff, especially for a Mario game, so surely the visuals and soundtrack fit the tone.
I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed, but I am gonna think it.
Well, that's tonal whiplash if I've ever seen it. How did the developers of this game have a plot synopsis of fictional dinosaur and violent acts against children and settle on the theming of fucking adorable?
So, child abduction. Thoughts? Those are the cutest syllables my ears have ever tasted. That's fucking psychotic. Let's do it!
And boy am I glad they did, because this game knows exactly how to pleasure all of my senses.
God, it smells so good!
This game is absolutely adorable, man. It takes the idea of a plot centered around children and makes the absolute most out of that concept by making the game look as though it was ripped right out of a child's coloring book. The outlines are bold and are rarely, if ever, perfectly drawn, and the game utilizes a soft, colourful palette akin to crayons being used to colour the landscape in. It's adorable, no two ways about it, but it's also downright gorgeous. This is some of the nicest looking pixel art I've ever seen, man. Not only does it stand right up next to Donkey Kong Country and Super Metroid, two of the most stunning platformers on the Super Nintendo, but it also stands toe-to-toe with modern pixel art platformers like Sonic Mania and Celeste. And the same can absolutely be said about the soundtrack. Alongside the lullaby-like music box song we heard in the opening, this game has a variety of happy, bubbly songs, with some more serious songs thrown in the mix too. Every single one of them is composed in such a playful way, whether that be with the instrumentation or the melody itself. They all just emit an immense feeling of fun, even with the more intense music of the bunch, if that's what you want to call it. And this just fits right back in with the childlike innocence the rest of the presentation plays with. It's so damn endearing and works impeccably well with a game like this. The thematic cohesion at play here is an absolute joy to see, so let's hope the gameplay follows suit, because every piece of art is only as strong as its gameplay.
This is a visual masterpiece! But the gameplay bored me out of my mind!
Yoshi's Island takes heavy inspiration from the game it's a sequel to. Being a platformer in the Mario universe, the gameplay feels very familiar. But there's a level of refinement here that I feel is still yet to be replicated in any of the Plumbers 2D outings. The controls just feel so tight and responsive, and the movement speed is absolutely perfect if you ask me. The way this game flows just puts all of the power in your hands. If you fail at something, or take damage, or die, it's 100% down to you, and is never really the fault of the game, or at least that's how it felt to me in my time with this game. It's not perfect, because nothing is, but it feels incredibly good to play. But what does Yoshi bring to the table to make himself stand out from Mario? 4!
If you'll kindly excuse me, I need to go talk to a lawyer.
The main mechanic of Yoshi's Island is your ability to swallow enemies and turn them into eggs. This is Yoshi's main method of attack, not only in the sense that eating an enemy is equivalent to defeating them, but also because the eggs they produce can be used as projectiles. This is where the true genius of Yoshi's Island begins to present itself. It's an incredibly unique and enjoyable spin on combat, yes, but it also bleeds into the rest of the game's identity. You see, smacking Shy Guys with your own shit isn't the only use the eggs have. They also allow you to interact with the environment in a number of different ways. There are pieces of land that you can only access by hitting surrounding things with eggs. There are balloons in some levels that have items attached to them that you can use eggs to obtain. And most notably of all, there are these winged question clouds that can do a wide variety of different things. A lot of these things are hidden, meaning you have to scour every corner of the level in order to find all of them. And you never know what they're gonna do when you're finally able to hit them with an egg. They can create platforms, move parts of the terrain, or give you a collectible, like a flower, red coins, or stars. These collectibles are integral in the completion of Yoshi's Island. The flowers and red coins are pretty straightforward. There are 5 flowers and 20 red coins per each of the game's levels, and hunting them down can be a blast. To the best of my knowledge, the red coins don't actually contribute towards anything other than completion, but each of the flowers you collect are added to the goal ring at the end of each level, and if the roulette lands on one, then you get to play a little mini-game. So collecting more flowers leads to a higher probability of getting to play one of those mini-games. But the most integral collectible to the core gameplay here is the stars. The player can have a maximum of 30 stars at any given time. There isn't necessarily a limit on how many there are per level, but you can only ever utilize 30 of them. These things essentially act as your health, or as closely equivalent as you can get to that. Whenever Yoshi is hit by an enemy, Baby Mario begins to fly around in a bubble while crying. While Baby Mario is in this bubble, the star counter begins to count down, and if it reaches 0, Baby Mario is taken by Kamek's toadies, and you lose a life. So naturally, this means the more stars you collect, the safer you'll be. But in order to 100% the level, you're gonna need a full meter of 30, which should be the motivation to get Baby Mario back. But no, I just want him to stop fucking crying!
Make it stop!
At the end of each level, you're graded out of 100 points depending on how many of each thing you beat the level with. And even though I didn't personally feel super motivated to get 100 on each level, it felt pretty damn good whenever I did. Yoshi also has his iconic flutter kick, which made its debut in this game and would become a staple of his character in damn near every game he would go on to appear in. But something about the way Yoshi's Island executes this move is on another level. Maybe it's to do with the sound effect and animation, which are both ridiculously cute. Or maybe it's the added height it gives you compared to other iterations, and the fact that you can use it multiple times before hitting the ground. I don't know, but whatever it is, I love using this move here. Much like most of the games in the Mario franchise, Yoshi's Island has a set of power-ups, or transformations that you can find throughout the game. Yoshi can become a helicopter, a mole, a car, a snowball, a submarine, a train, and a surfer. And even Baby Mario gets in on the fun with Superstar Mario. These are all fun enough to use and definitely help spice up the gameplay from time to time, but the base gameplay is so fantastic on its own that these don't really feel necessary to me. A load of fun, absolutely, but it doesn't feel like the game would suffer all that much without them. We also have a slew of bosses, 2 per each of the game's 6 worlds, and these fights are all designed really well. I love the little cutscenes at the beginning of each fight that show Kamek coming in to power up the boss with some magic. It's really not much, but it's a fun bit of world building that I really appreciate, and is also something that the new Super Mario Bros. Series would end up claiming as its own. You greedy bitches couldn't just be content with having the penguin suit. You just had to steal this from the dinosaur, didn't you? But by far the best boss in this entire game is the final encounter. The final fight against Baby Bowser. This fight is insanely good. Everything about this fight feels damn near perfect. The kick-ass music, the giant looming figure of Baby Bowser, the tremendous blend of using the foreground and background equally throughout the fight. God, I just love it so much. This was such a good way to end off this adventure. And with Baby Bowser defeated, we're finally able to reunite Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. And so ends Yoshi's Island. The babies reunited and peace restored to the island. The Stork is finally able to deliver the babies to their destination. And the game ends with the babies finally being able to meet their parents after this wild journey they've been on. Yoshi's Island is one of those rare games where almost every single thing it tried feels flawlessly executed. The gameplay, the sound design, the visuals, the story, they all feel like they have a perfect synergy going on that make every moment of playing this game nothing but joyful. I genuinely believe that Yoshi's Island is one of the greatest platformers ever made. And even if not, it's damn high on my list of favorites. It took what could have just been a silly fun side game in the Mario universe and turned it into an absolute masterpiece that I will always cherish.
Alright! Now I'm in the Yoshi playing mood. It's gonna be difficult for any of the games that follow this one to top it, but if this game is any indication of what's to come, then I cannot wait to experience the rest of what this series has to offer. Which will one day include Yoshi's Cookie. But I cannot stress this enough. Today is not that day!